all on the future of sports tech and the entertainment industry, which is another GITEX.virtual webinar. My name is Dave Crane, and I've got an incredible array of panel guests to share with you the lifting of the future of sports, because 5G, edge technology, and the global community is going to be united under a cloud umbrella. What does that mean? Well, you'll find out as we bring to you some incredible speakers. Our guests today include Hisham Shahabi, who's a co-founder and COO of Next Sports. He's a former Olympic participant, a swimmer, I believe, and Hisham was a sports intelligence manager at the International Olympics Committee. He co-founded Next Sports and is a COO based in Washington, DC, and joined us from the USA just now. Hello to Hisham. And also we're joined by Adam Marcel as a marketing head for technical support services for Nokia. Now, Adam is a massive sports fan, in fact, we all are, to be honest, and drives marketing activities for Nokia's new era of 5G digital support. He's actively involved in designing, deploying, and operating many venue solutions across the globe. So thanks to Adam for joining us. And also to Amar Hina, who's the broadcast and TV production director for UAE Pro League, and is a specialist in all aspects of modern day sports content creation, from production to post-production management, and he's worked on just about every football event you can think of, from English Premier League to World Cup. So if you want to know what happened behind the scenes, he knows all about it as well. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We're going to be predominantly looking at the way that sports tech has come into this arena and also how investments are being used. I'd like to first of all start off by going to Hisham from Next Sports and asking you, this is relatively new to sports. For the last couple of years, we've seen it really go almost like the game of playing FIFA is just like the experience of watching it on the TV. Was that a deliberate mark, do you think?
Yeah, so Dave, I think the growth of sports tech, happened because of growth in tech in general. So the availability of cloud storage, computational power has increased massively in the last 15 years. And whereas sports companies used to invest a lot of money to start and develop new solutions, today you can do that much more quickly. And so anybody who has an idea is able to launch it very quickly. And sports tech really covers many, many different things. So you have the wearables and equipment, you have performance tracking, you have it on the business side, on the media side and broadcasting. You mentioned esports. And all of these kind of are starting to take shape in very niche investment verticals in sports tech. Whereas before you'd have general sports tech investment funds. Now you see investment funds popping up, especially in the US and Europe. Not so much in the Middle East yet, but hopefully in the very near future, where they focus on specific verticals, even specific sports. So I think this level of maturity is now coming into the sports industry and will drive further investment, because it becomes clear what an ROI on a sports tech investment could look like.
Is there a drive on that very subject for normal sports to catch up with esports? For instance, esports is what, 2.7 billion people playing it, and it's $180 billion industry compared to, say, even the English Premier League. I mean, the football world doesn't have that much. Is there a drive to see if you can cross it over to the esports fans, because then you've got much more synergy, much more investment in the whole thing?
Absolutely, yeah. So esports is a microcosm of gaming, right? So gaming is a $180 billion industry around the world. And really, if you look at the technology that's being used there, the kind of graphics, so you can see why people are gravitating towards gaming. And this goes from console gaming to mobile gaming, which is very, very popular in our region as well as Asia. And so here, the invitation to sports organizations is to think about esports and gaming as a way for them to attract and interact with new segments of the market and complement what they are already delivering. So you see it a lot now in football, that there's the launch of esports leagues, which is a great, I think, step. It's a step in the right direction. But thinking about a digital strategy within a football club or a football league should also include their gaming strategy. How do I want to be on mobile? What kind of gamification do I want to bring to my fans? So these are things that happen in other industries. And I think sports should be thinking about itself less as sport and more as a competitor in the entertainment space, which is using gaming a lot.
So talking about the technology side of it, I'd like to bring in now Adam from Nokia, because when we're talking about edge computing, we're talking about the cloud and data analytics and also 5G. How does this lend itself to sport? We already know that in business, people are using it to be able to get on the point stuff about your car needs servicing or whatever. But in sports, it can really revolutionize the way that people enjoy and also get to see behind the scenes and feel more involved in their favorite team.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So yeah, Hisham has already mentioned that the availability of computational power about edge computing, that you have access to all these technologies, and it's provided by web scales, provided by communication service providers. You don't have to invest in those technologies because they could be close enough. And I mean, in your vicinity, about 30 kilometers, you can have access to those technologies. So you take those, you don't have to send all the data that you're using to across a country or across a region, but you can process that locally. That means you get latency, you reduce that. So you use all that technology to get feedback to provide real-time VR experience to fans in the stadium, or to analyze the data about hundreds and thousands of players real time. And you can do all that using, of course, what 5G can potentially offer. And of course, edge technology as a part of that revolution is very much essential.
Now, with soccer being such a huge, football being such a huge sport across the globe, is that the most easily, readily accessible for this new technology? Or are we finding that right across the board, every sport is having some kind of investment, and maybe some that people didn't enjoy so much lend themselves to this kind of new technology? Adam.
Thanks. So I think it's not due to football or soccer. We have to represent both sides of a coin, but I stick with you on that. It's about having a fixed physical location. Of course, some of these require investment. A radio technology will require base stations, will require a microwave, and will require a network. So those clubs and venue owners who have a physical location like a stadium will be able to leverage more and on a regular basis. But we have seen technologies, and we worked with companies across the globe for tennis tournaments, for alpine skiing, for cycling races. So all those can leverage this technology. But I would say that at this point in time, we have seen massive efforts in the United States. So there's a race there. And of course, some communication service provider CEOs have been referencing their performance in that arena. But I would say that of course, the other thing is you need to leverage them, because we see that they're used once a week. And we've seen good examples from Finland, our home market, that they tried to create a stadium that is used for multiple occasions, not just purely sports, but be a part of the community for gamers, make it be another event, or even elderly people just for a certain occasion. So it's about physical location and being able to use it on a regular basis. I think those are the two factors.
Thank you, Adam. I'd also like to now turn to Amar from UAE Pro League, because right now you've got an overview of making sure that the league is covered media-wise and technology-wise as best as possible, but there will be some venues that don't have the same kind of investment or the same kind of stadia available that the big ones have. They don't have the ability to set things up. How much of it do you cover, and how much of it, of the experience that the fans have, is down to the actual venue themselves? Because you're going to get a slightly lopsided experience like you do in the Premier League or like you do in Spain and so on, where the big teams have everything and the small teams just don't play the same way.
Yeah, I believe that this is like part of life. You will see the contrast all the time, but the main thing we have on our shoulder is somehow to unite the output on TV. And as you mentioned, that as an example, we have the best stadium in the world 2014, which is Hazab bin Zayed Stadium for Al Ain. At the same time, we have very low, let's say very normal venues that we have, and it is so much like it's like very hard thing that we have, that we need to unite the vision on TV to make it at the same time look the same, because while you're having two matches at the same time running on two channels, whenever you want to change the channel, you should expect to see the same direction, the same way of the shots So it's not easy at all. And it's not just from the side of the venue itself. It's about how to make it look nice on air, while you know that it's not going to be. It's so much challenging, you know. And just I'm going to highlight one of the things that related to the 5G. We have one of the stadiums that investing in having like special access for the blind people to enjoy the matches. So this is like an example. While we have some other stadiums that we don't have like a clear view for the main camera position. So it is so much challenging for sure. Yeah, it is challenging.
Now to Hisham from Next Sports, we know that certainly in football, FIFA is one of the big dominating bodies, and they will want it to run the way that FIFA wants it to run. Now, the beauty of having something like new technology and startups and new investments coming in is it shakes up old systems. So for instance, banking was run by banks who didn't want to play with anybody else. This is the way banking is, until Silicon Valley gave people apps and a chance to choose their own way to bank. Now, the same is going to be true for many sports, but specifically, let's take football. Do smaller organizations and smaller startups bring a different flavor to the game? And what can we expect that to actually result in?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the things Ammar, when he was talking about it, it got me thinking about people. You know, at the end, I mean, we are talking about technology, but you need people to implement technology, and you put in technology because of people's needs, right? So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. And it's, like you said, Dave, it is about changing the mindsets of people within sports organizations as well, who maybe worked in silos previously, but should be more used to now working with externals and across different departments. You know, so one of our clients is a basketball league in Europe. It's called EuroLeague Basketball, and we've been helping them with their startup challenge, which is called Fan Experience Startup Challenge. And there they've focused on, so they have teams across 12 countries in Europe with varying degrees of success on the field, but also from a business point of view. So the needs would be totally different, but they knew that one specific issue was improving the fan experience across all of their different clubs. So this was something that was run by the league, you know, so a central body that speaks on behalf of its members. And they scouted the startups, they did a call for the startups, they assembled a group of mentors, they assembled a group of investors. And this type of activity is very new in sports, which has been existing already in the tech industry for many, many years. And it's exciting to see that because it changes, like you said, just the mindset of people within sports organizations to be more open to working in startups.
So with that, I'd like to finish off by asking Adam from Nokia about legacy technology, because certainly the big guys like to have their own systems and you play with our system or you can't play with anybody else. But this is really such a young industry. As Nokia are such a big player, what's your strategy for being able to relate to other things to join you? Are you very easily accessible, or do you play it Nokia way, or you walk the highway? What's your strategy for the growth of the industry?
Well, we have a massive enterprise market, and we're of course have tons of partners. So we're not just doing it directly. Of course, we partner with operators across the globe. We serve massive enterprise segments, the likes of Lufthansa and of course Deutsche Bahn, just to mention a few. So we're not singling out anyone. Of course, there's a size there. So if there's a scale, if there's a big enough scale, we'll go directly. If not, we'll leverage our partners. But we accept the fact that we cannot know everything. And then we have worked a long time to get the best partners on board to fulfill all the needs across what any technology might bring.
Absolutely. And the fascinating thing about tech is you don't necessarily have to be a big company. You could be a couple of friends with a laptop, and you might find a niche that makes a big difference and reinvents the entire industry. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on this broadcast. I'd like to thank everybody who's been with us. And of course, thank our special guests, Hisham, Adam, and Ammar, for sharing their insights and their wisdom on the future of tech sports, and also the investment arena and where it's going to be going in the future. Make sure you join us, by the way. GITEX is live once again back in the Dubai World Trade Center. Make sure you join us between the 6th and 10th of December. And we are back with blockchain, 3G, 3D, and many opportunities for you to have a one-to-one with the people you want to meet. Meanwhile, thank you so much for joining us. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you at GITEX.